latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here. I mentioned it, but let's really bring it home by giving the governor his time. This is J.B. Pritzker's message to ICE, message to anybody who would promote enforcement of federal immigration law.
To anyone who intends to come take away the freedom and opportunity and dignity of Illinoisans, I would remind you that a happy warrior is still a warrior. You come for my people, you come through me.
Mm-hmm. And as we said, his people are all of those, and that's just a sampling, all of those gang members, drug traffickers, kidnappers, and rapists who were released back onto Illinois streets because of his sanctuary policies. I just ran through them. This is from Department of Homeland Security release announcing Operation Midway Blitz in honor of Katie Abraham. Just an example of who Pritzker's people are. Big tough guy. Taking away people's freedoms who are violent criminals in this country illegally. It's remarkable the willful blindness among a certain segment of this state's population. It's just astounding. Hopefully, Operation Midway Blitz and the continued celebration of the lives of people like Katie Abraham who have been victimized by these awful public policies will drop some scales from some eyes. We'll see. For more on Operation Midway Blitz, pleased to be joined by Joe Abraham, who's Katie Abraham's father. Joe, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Tell us about when you got the word that Department of Homeland Security, the Trump administration, was going to honor Katie Abraham with this Operation Midway Blitz effort.
Yeah, we got a call on Sunday, and they were sort of brought up this operation, and they said they would really, they thought of Katie and would really love to honor Katie around this operation and dedicate it to her. And I, if you take the contrast between the complete and utter silence from my home state and my home politicians, and compare that to, say, the DHS folks. The silence is deafening. So I thought it was terrific that they thought of Katie, acknowledged Katie, wanted to do right by Katie, try to right the wrongs that were going on for the last 5 years, not only in the previous administration federally, but current administration in Illinois. And that soundbite you just played with J.B. Pritzker, where was he when Katie was killed? Whoever killed Katie seemed to get around him pretty easy. And I'm sorry if those words ring so hollow, because Katie should have been protected. That was part of our social bargain, social agreement, whatever you want to call it, unwritten. You be productive, you be law-abiding, you raise a solid family, you do all the right things, and pay the exorbitant taxes that they gouge us with, and we pay it. In return, all I think we're supposed to get is a little safety for our children. So I didn't get that. And again, I'm not sure how this guy got around J.B. Pritzker and killed Katie, but that's where I sit in my life right now without my youngest daughter.
The man that was arrested and charged in connection with Katie's death, a 29-year-old citizen of Guatemala, he was arrested in January. He was, attempting to flee. Of course, he was just south of Dallas, Texas, when he was picked up. Where does that case stand? Just updating us on that.
He's still incarcerated here in I believe Champaign County, and we've had continuances since January, so it's not even where we need to go down to Urbana to the courtroom. He doesn't go to the courtroom. They're just asking for continuances. I think the next court hearing is on the 24th of this month, later this month, and we suspect another continuance for another either 30 or 60 days.
The whole you mentioned this in an interview that you gave that I played a clip from before you joined us, about the rhetoric coming from the pro sanctuary city and state, no person is illegal kind of crowd. And there's a lot of those types up on in the north suburbs around where you live. I wonder what your experience has been since Katie's death in terms of whether or not, as I was mentioning at the outset, some scales fell from some eyes within your circles in terms of people understanding that these sort of sentimental positions that they take have real world consequences, devastating ones.
If that's the case, I haven't seen it. I really think people are dug in here, and that's very disappointing because if you look at our state and even our area here in the North Shore, there really is no leadership. If you just take this one issue, Dan, mm-hmm. and they make you choose, I guess. I'm not sure what they're doing, right? Because it's a two-way street. But it cannot be that on one side, it's either you must accept unaudited, unvetted, unlimited, doesn't matter who's in your state, or you're just kind of a racist, I guess. I think those are the choices. There's nothing in the middle. We have no other, we can't just audit folks. Dan, for example, if I go to another country and I'm not audited and screened and checked for background, I may not want to even enter that country. I don't even know what's going on in that country if there is no formal process. So I don't know where the shame is, where we can vet people that should come into our state. And let's be clear, leadership to me isn't a leader of Illinois to say the federal government failed on the border and they're dumping people on our state and there's nothing I can do. That to me is not leadership. Leadership would be like, okay, I'm getting hundreds of thousands of folks dumped on us. I will have my own vetting process here in the state to protect my citizens. I will vet those folks. I will filter out the ones that probably shouldn't be here and work with the federal government to remove those specific threats, right? So if something like that happened, even within Illinois, if we had any kind of real leadership or rational policies, Katie is not dead. Katie's sitting here with me, and she would not have received a death sentence based on what's happening in this state.
Yeah. So when you hear politicians, we heard from Dick Durbin over the weekend, same thing from Pritzker, they sort of, say the thing that you're supposed to say, which is, of course, people who pose a public safety threat or people who've committed a violent act, they should be removed from this country. But then you have all these people who've committed violent acts, per this Department of Homeland Security press release, whose ICE detainers were not honored. So it's what they say, but then you have to watch what they do.
100%. Because, and again, the silence is deafening coming from Senator Durbin as well, completely deafening. But exactly right. For example, the Julio Cucabol, who is allegedly killed Katie, was already deported, came back under an alias, right? So Mexican national alias, he's a Guatemalan national. So there's one, right? False documents there. And then even if he's in Illinois, my understanding is, and I can't get documentation on this, my understanding is he was pulled over for a traffic violation without a driver's license, shouldn't have been on the roads, right? These guys, but then again, he's back on the road. So I'm not sure those words match the deeds. I'm with you on that because, again, there's a couple of opportunities to have pulled this person out who killed Katie and not have him in this state. Didn't happen. We've talked before, and I know you were not like a particularly political guy before this
this tragedy befell your Katie and your family, and I just wonder, what the last year has been like in terms of you being outspoken, and more engaged on the policy side of this as well.
I find myself, Dan, getting more. I don't want to use the. Yeah, more engaged, I guess, because a lot of the things I hear from our leaders, and I think really what sort of flipped the switch for me was in June when we were at the Oversight Committee hearings on sanctuary cities, and not one Democrat delegate or congressperson, no one approached me. No one acknowledged. And look, I wasn't looking for, I'm sorry and condolences. Really what I was looking for is, hey, things got out of control and we're trying to fix the wrongs. But I got nothing. I got nothing but silence. Now, Mary Miller, who Katie died in her district, she is a Republican, so a bunch of Republicans reached out to me, but I was more interested in hearing this is a one-party state that only the Democrats run this state. So I was willing to hear from them. Tell me why Katie had to die. So explain to me why it's okay that we, stay the course, even though Katie lost her life. Why is it okay? Explain to me. Help me understand so I could sleep better at night that Katie was sacrificed for some specific good reason. And I'll tell you, not one of them even acknowledged me. Jan Schakowsky, who was my congresswoman, must have walked by me maybe 5-6 times, didn't even look in my direction. J.B. Pritzker couldn't muster up. I was sitting right behind him, a stone throw away, couldn't even turn to me, couldn't acknowledge. I'm living here all my life. My family's been here since the early 1960s. Illinois is the only state I know. This is my governor. I just had a tragedy, and I felt sitting there, I felt like I was an annoyance to these folks. Like, my goodness, why does this guy have to show up, and why do they have pictures of Katie up on the stand that Chairman Comer's talking about? And that was kind of the turning point for me, going, I get it. These guys are not compassionate. They only talk the game. He doesn't care. I think he's in it for the game. He's just trying to climb some mountain, and the bodies he leaves behind, it doesn't matter. He's just trying to get to a certain point, and that point, that peak, is not the governor of Illinois. And I feel very sad for our state right now.
Well said. The I asked if you had had anybody sort of come to you and say, Katie's death really turned me around on this issue, and you said that really hasn't happened. Have you received criticism from people for being outspoken in defense of, in defense of the rule of law, in trying to prevent more tragedies like Katie?
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to get down on that part of it because it does upset me. But, you hear silly things. There really is silly things. It's, again, no one's illegal and all this other stuff. And I'm not disagreeing with that because I think people don't seem to understand that we are a family of immigrants. And here's the biggest thing that I retort to them is, you are backing politicians and policies that have created an environment where the majority of Americans now look at immigration negatively. And I'm not okay with that. That's not what I wanted. But what you created and what you're supporting is doing the exact opposite of what you want. So you're trying to achieve something in immigration, but now your policies and your support of the folks running this state has turned people against it. So I don't think people make that connection. But again, I mean, I can't, no one's been able to talk to me and explain, like, here's why this is the right thing, because it just seems like anarchy. It just seems like they're winging it. There's no real kind of progress. And I get that the state is so mismanaged, and I'm sorry for that, and that hundreds of thousands of people, citizens, have become sort of foreigners in Illinois and are leaving now, right? Refugees. He's created Illinois refugees. I'm starting to feel like one, like I can't stay in the state anymore. So I'm sorry that it's so mismanaged that people are fleeing and you just need to backfill them with anybody and everybody, but that's not okay. That's not a rational policy, and that's certainly not leadership.
Yeah, your wife has been outspoken as well. I just sort of on a personal level, how is your family coping through all of this? Because you have other children and family members.
Yeah, and things are so broken with Katie. She was such a beautiful person, just a great spirit. Her sense of humor, her presence, the way she can read a room at her age, it was just incredible to us. So it is still so painful that we're missing this great spirit. And here's the thing that really kind of gets us, right, is this person not only killed Katie, gave her death without any due process, had separated us, right? Here's someone who separated our family. I'll never see Katie again. She's gone. What it comes down to is not only Katie died and that our family has a life sentence, but Katie's children are gone. Her children's children are gone. Her legacy is done. He broke the chain. Katie's done that way. It's just disgusting what had happened, and it could have been so avoided. I'm not sure how we're going to overcome that. I think it will be with us the rest of our lives.
Joe Abraham, father of Katie Abraham. Joe, thank you as always for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
And Joe joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Honey, the check engine light just came on and it's making that weird clunking sound again. This is all we needed before vacation. I just know this is going to be a huge repair bill, and our factory warranty expired last month.
Don't you worry your head about it, dear. Remember a few weeks ago when I was looking into vehicle protection plans? I signed us up for CarShield.
You did? But I thought those things were expensive and complicated.
Not CarShield. They have a low-cost month-to-month plan, and it covers our out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Plus, it includes free roadside assistance